Okay, so I'm going to talk to you about your endangered species project, anything and everything that I think you should know for this project. One reason I'm asking, because for A Day, I'll see you on Monday, but on Wednesday, I'm giving the test, so you'll not be available on Wednesday. A Day does not have class on Friday, so I only see A Day on Monday this week. For B Day, over half of the students in this class are juniors, so they will be taking the U.S. History Star tomorrow. And then any seniors who didn't qualify to exempt will also be taking it. So I don't expect to see anyone for B Day on Tuesday because they'll be testing. There's a chance I'll see them on Thursday unless I get called in to test, but by that time, you've already missed 3 days that week. So for them, then I'll see them again on Friday, which hopefully testing done. So kind of want to just introduce this project that you'll be working on this whole week. And if you have questions, you can always reach out to me, but hopefully this helps. So it's just a screenshot of the hub. It says week 13 endangered species project. You'll be working on it all this week. I'm going to talk about it in class today. And then it is a major grade. It is due Sunday, May the 5th. May the 9th at 11:59. And when you're work on your project during STAR testing days, when we don't have a live class, that's how you should be using your time. If I'm busy giving the test and I don't have a live class, you should look out for an attendance form from me and then work on your project. On the hub, you'll have the rubric and instructions. You'll have the partner list and what species you're given. You have an example project that was a Google Slides that's saved as a PDF, and then you'll have the actual project itself. So when you're working on the project, you're going to use the Endangered Species Project instructions plus rubric, which you can find on the hub. To complete the project, it has everything you need. Here are some screenshots of what's on that PDF. So some details for the project, what you're going to include on your project. You're going to have species name, both the common and the scientific names with their proper spelling and capitalization. Have the classification of your species, so the kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species of that organism you're working on. You have the habitat, so areas or countries where the species is found. Some of them are only found on the Galapagos Islands. Some of them are found like everywhere. So my example project, the whale that I did is found in all major oceans. However, it doesn't live near the equator at all. And it doesn't live near the glaciers. And so I mentioned that in my project. Then I put a map from a website that monitors these whales showing where they live. So you'll also include a map. Nutrition, what type of eater are they? Are they a carnivore, herbivore, or omnivore? And what do they eat? So mine ate a whole bunch of krill, ate some other stuff, but mostly krill. A food web, a picture of a food web, which are typically pretty easy to find online. And what are the side effects that will happen if the species goes extinct? What's going to happen to that food web or the area if that species goes extinct? And then the reproduction, what is the gestation period? So like for humans, it's 40 weeks or 9 months. So how long are they pregnant for? What's the number born per litter? Any additional information. And I'll show you an example of what I mean by additional information. I wanted to just keep that pretty general in this section because not all organisms give birth the same way. And so I wanted, like I said, keep that pretty generalized and added an additional information section. Then you're going to tell me about the population numbers. So what's the current numbers? And show me a chart of the population changes over time. What is threatening this species to make it endangered, including some details in there. And what are the solutions that are going on to help protect these species? Make sure you have at least one picture on every slide and that your project looks uniform with the theme and the color. Obviously not copied from the web, easy to read. And I say a minimum of 10 slides because based on what I listed, plus the works cited, I mean, you should have it spaced out. Like you could have 20 slides, cool, I don't care. 3 slides, unacceptable. Like you're jamming way too much stuff on each slide if you only have 3 to 5 slides. So I'm looking for at least 10. And then for your works cited, I want a minimum of at least 4 websites that you used, and at least one of those has to be a .gov. So like 3 plus a .gov, which makes 4 total websites. And I have the rubric that's attached to the instructions page. It looks like this. It's very detailed to tell you exactly what I'm looking for and how to lose points. And you can find this on the hub. On the bottom, it says, extra points for creativity will be rewarded to exceptional projects. So the one example project I have would be an example of one that would earn extra points because it gives extra stuff. So when you start your project, the first thing you should do is read all the information on the hub under plans week 13. This is beginning of the last 6 weeks. So make sure you look under plans, you'll find everything you need. You're going to figure out who your partner is and which endangered species you are assigned so you know who you need to contact and what you'll be working on. You need to reach out to your partner on Teams. If you know them and have their number, you can just text them. But if you don't, find them on Teams. You can do that by starting a new chat and typing their name in the bar to find them. And then you introduce yourselves to each other, especially if you don't know each other. And then you're going to determine which project is going to start the Google Slides to share with the other partner so that y'all can work on it together. This is found on the hub. And so you'll just create your own Google Slides and attach it when you turn it in. You're going to work on your project and decide which partner is working on which sections. So I'm going to do this, you do this. Cool. All right, cool. Make sure you're working on it. Make sure that the title of your project looks like this: the animal name, your names, and period number. So my example project was the fin whale. Even though I didn't really work with Mrs. McElvin, I just did an example to show 2 names. So it'd be Coach Bowles and Mrs. McElvin, and then I put first period. So make sure you have it titled so it's easy for me to know whose is whose, or in case things get weird on the hub. Then you're going to triple check your project to the rubric that is located on the hub. Make sure you have everything you need. And then you'll turn in your project. Only one person has to turn it in on the hub. You do have to originally share it with each other so you can both work on it, but only one has to turn it into the hub. And it is due Sunday, the 9th by 11:59 p.m. And this is the example project I was talking about. So the example project I did over the fin whale, it has its common name and its scientific name, and here's a picture. A classification of this whale, the kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Remember, species is always lowercase. I put some extra information. I found this graphic on fin whales, so I thought it was pretty cool. It shows you how big they are, how old they get, comparing them to other organisms, which is kind of crazy because the fin whale's only natural predator is the orca, and it's like 50 feet longer than it. It's crazy. So information about the fin whale, told you where they live. I explained this earlier. So live in all major oceans and in the deep offshore areas. They don't live near the poles and they don't live near the equator. This is a graphic from a research website about fin whales on where they live. And so the blue spots is where they're typically located. The fin whale diet, all right, they're carnivores and they're also considered filter feeders because the way they eat. And they pretty much like swallow their food whole because they have they're a baleen whale, so they have toothbrush teeth. But they eat small schooling fish, squid, and crustaceans like krill. I put this as extra information. The only known predator to this fin whale is the orca. A little bit more, so this is where the extra information comes for the bonus points. So they're typically on the top of the food chain unless there's an orca around. They help control the plankton population. They work together when feeding and they dive deeper for food. So just extra information, like I said, I found. Here's the food web, and they're considered a baleen whale. So this is where they would fall in the food web. Not the best one. Well, I mean, this is actually a pretty good one. But the only part that was kind of weird is the line that connected the krill to the baleen whale went underneath the birds, so I put it on top of the birds. And then the baleen whale gets eaten by the orca. So an example of a food web that includes your organism. So if someone has orca, boom, guess what? You could use the same exact one. Someone had a sperm whale or a penguin, you've been looking at the same exact kind of food web. What happens if the fin whale disappears? There'll be an increased population of krill because that's what they eat. And if they're gone, they don't have big whales eating it. If the krill goes away, then if the whale goes away, then the population of the krill will increase, which means the population of phyto and zooplankton will decrease because there'll be more krill to eat all that stuff. And then we're looking at a predicted decrease in population of sperm whales because they're the next biggest whale on the list. And so if you get rid of the fin whales, well, what's the next best one? It's sperm whales. So they'll go after those next. Fin whale reproduction. I put some extra information on here too. So that's what I said, additional information. So they typically reach physical maturity at 25 years old. Males are sexually active between 6 and 10 years. Females are sexually active between 7 and 12 years. And they have 11 to 12 months gestation period. So here's what's required, gestation period. This is extra. That's what I'll be looking for, something like that. And then I extended it on the next slide. Typically one born per litter. And then the newborn calves are about 18 feet long and weigh 4,000 to 6,000 tons. Giant. This is also extra information. But that's, if I see all this information, nicely organized, not too much words, you know you're going to get full credit there. What happened to them? Well, they became endangered in 1973, so I put that on there. There's their population size. It varies. It's like a very wide range, but they live almost everywhere, so it's hard to keep a good count. Here's how their population has declined over time. They are on the up and up because they were protected, so they should have a recovery in their species, as you can see here. Why was their population declining? Well, a whole bunch of whales were killed in the early 1900s because of the whaling industry, and they wanted their teeth, their meat, and the oil. Commercial whaling caused that. Some areas around the world have resumed commercial whaling, so a lot of whales are being killed again, even though some of them are endangered. And obviously the environmental issues that happen in the world. So those are 3 causes, and I explained them. What are solutions? Well, I found a research project that's trying to study how they migrate, and using they'll capture them, they'll tag them, they'll release them. So with that research, they're able to figure out where the whales are going and when they go there and how long it takes them to get there and what time of the year they are there. And depending on weather, so they can figure out where they're going. So they'll use the tags to monitor them and obtain all that information. And then with that information, they'll be able to educate people and tell them where they're going to be. Like, hey, watch out for fin whales. They come around here this time of year. A big issue they have with whales and most fish is getting hit by boat propellers. So that should help protect them as well. Obviously, like decreasing pollution and like don't kill whales will be an option, but these are other ways to protect them. How's their future looking? It's not good. All right, as the population of blue whales decrease, which are the biggest ones here, the next best option to get the most meat and what you need would be the fin whales because they're the second largest. Then after that, they'll go for the sperm whales. So because they're just so massive, and if we wipe out the blue whale population, the fin whales are next up. How can you help? This is something extra I added. Fun facts, just because I'm extra. And then my resources page, which has at least one .gov on it. The end. So does anyone have any questions about this project thus far? All right, I'm going to assume there are no questions, but I'm also going to guess that you will have questions in the future. So if you do, no worries, just reach out to me. I'm here. One last thing I'm going to show you is the actual hub itself. Where is it? There it is. Oh, so much late work. Okay. So if we go to the hub, I kind of already mentioned this earlier, put a screenshot of it. You have everything you need here. Make sure that you're looking at your partner list, so you know who your partner is and which organism you've been assigned, and that it is due by next Sunday. All right.